We got Auburn taking on, number 19, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's coming on at noon, ESPN. This is what we're talking about, right? There's just so many heavy hitters this week, games wise. Like this is a good game in and of itself. Auburn has been looking somewhat improved. They didn't turn the ball over last game, and they had a bye week this past week, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And then Missouri had a bye week, so this is their first game back after playing. They played UMass. It felt like a bye week. Yeah, 45-3. They took out UMass, and so it should be a really fun one.
Yeah, it should be. Missouri 4.5-point favorites at home, Battle of the Tigers. And I was thinking this about Auburn and the harsh criticisms of some of the turnovers that have led to them losing, that I think they are one of the worst teams in the SEC. Like, they're not winning games in the SEC play, but I think that they're better than what the record shows. Going to Missouri, who is underachieving to expectations. What do you think? How do you think this game plays out? Do you think Missouri bounces back from the poor performance at A&M? Or do you think Auburn bounces back from their losing streak?
Yeah, I mean, the way I think this game plays out, I think that Auburn continues to play good football, right? Keandre Lambert-Smith right now is still tied for first in the SEC in receiving. He gonna get his, right? Peyton Thorne has looked a little bit more impressive. If we can see him play like he did against OU, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, they can win this game. This defense is top 8 across the conference when it comes to yards allowed per game. And so but for Missouri, I think it's more important for how they control this game. And I believe for them, I would expect Brady Cook to continue to get warm. One thing that they don't do a lot of is turn the ball over. So ultimately, their lack of turning the ball over, they only have one interception of the year, right? Mm-hmm. It's first in the SEC. Their ability to not turn the ball over, while their offense might not always look as prolific as we want it to be, I think it warms back up this game. I think they show us what they have, and it's a close game overall from a game flow perspective.
Yeah. And speaking on turnovers, Auburn is a team that had started out the year with a lot of turnovers. They seem to kind of be settling in a little bit more, going through that quarterback battle, finally settling with Peyton Thorne. Does Missouri's defense have enough to force turnovers from Auburn, or is it going to have to be, a shootout back and forth offense?
Based upon what we've seen, I don't think Missouri's defense has enough to kind of create those turnovers, right? Obviously, Auburn has not looked super impressive offensively from a turnover perspective, but they've played some pretty good defenses, right? They played Oklahoma, and they've played, other teams. Like Cal's defense is decent, right? We saw them slow down Pitt last week. And so Missouri's defense has been proven to be bend, don't break. Turnovers is not their strong suit. Like the stats point to it. And so I could see it playing out similar to like their game against Boston College, where it was a little bit of a shootout. I don't think that Auburn comes out and takes a touchdown or 2 lead early on, but I think they're able to hang around because it'll be drive, stop, score, long drive, field goal, right? I think it's more of that type of game versus big interception, take it back for 6, defensive domination. Haven't seen that from Missouri this season thus far.
Yeah. And Auburn has been good on defense at stopping some of the big playmakers on other teams. Like, our offense will turn over the ball, but we'll get it back for them. I think Missouri right now is at a point where if they connect a little bit better, if Luther Burden and Brady Cook connect, if Theo Weiss and Brady Cook connect a little bit better, they're winning. They're performing a lot better. There's a couple drops here and there, a couple miscommunications. They're settling into the year. I think that should improve the further the year goes on. I think Auburn's getting better. So these are 2 teams that are on the rise that have had bad performances in the past, in my mind.
And I completely agree with you. Like, definitely are on the rise. Like you kind of wipe off the A&M game last week. Like, Missouri is still 5-1. They're only 1-1 in the conference. Outside the A&M game, they'd be 1-0. Like they looked really like impressive against UMass last week. Why it was impressive to me was because they're able to get Luther Burden involved, and why that's important. It's more so getting him involved in the rushing game. He had 2 rushes for 68 yards, and so I would expect them to talk about when we talk about the passing game you mentioned and getting connected to the receivers. that intermediate passing game opens up the rushing game, which Noel and Marcus Carroll. Marcus Carroll is top 5 for them rushing in the SEC yards wise, and Noel is top 5 in the SEC touchdowns wise. So like it all kind of connects, and then it allows someone like Burden to do these jet sweeps and these outside runs to get these big 30-yard chunks to put the team in a better position to win.
Yeah. So it sounds like the 4.5-point favorites at home. It sounds like you believe in drink. You believe in drink this game?
Hey, I look. I believe in drink this game. And the reason I do is because I think this defense is enough to stop Auburn. I think Auburn's rushing game has been very anemic, so it makes them very one-sided, right? Jarquez Hunter's doing decent touchdowns wise, but they're bottom 4 in the SEC just in general. Actually rushing touchdowns wise. So I think that Missouri does enough in this game to win. I think it's closer than the scoreboard might look, but I'm going to take them 24-15.
All right. I like it. I think Missouri covers as well on the 4.5-point game.